Yes, sir.
Okay, call this meeting to order. Let the record show that all commissioners present. Before we say the pledge, would everybody please stand a moment of silence for 9/11 victims of New York and also the Pentagon. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we don't have any minutes for this meeting, so anybody in the audience who any citizens' comments? I know that nobody picked up a sheet there to sign up, so. Okay, if not, let's go to item number 6, proposed tax rate and budget workshop. Go ahead, Matt.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Okay, is there any comments on that proposed budget?
On this budget,
Correct.
you drew down the total amount in the interest and sinking and moved the tax pennies over to the general fund.
We did.
And that was at the advice of the financial advisors.
Correct.
And how much was the amount?
It was 830 some thousand.
Okay.
Then we set up the additional revenue that went in there
Yes, it's plugged in general
as a what?
as tax revenue.
No, the expenditure item, I'm sorry.
The expenditure item.
Or how did you, the additional revenue?
It's plugged in as ad valorem and liquid. Well, just bulked it all into ad valorem.
Okay. And then the DA's budget, we made the changes for the DA's budget.
We did.
Try to find the page.
Yeah. One three.
I thought we were gonna break out where the revenue came from.
Yeah, the revenues are on the revenue sheets.
Okay, you've done it.
Under 68.
Okay.
I have a question, Judge.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Are you finished?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go
We're
ahead.
moving the pennies over. We went through a bond election. We could charge like 3 point some odd cents or whatever in order to be able to cover the payment.
Sure.
But now we've moved that over in order to balance our budget. What obligation do we have, since our fund balance was so high in interest and sinking, in order to give that money back to the taxpayers that had voted for the tax increase, and now it's no longer going to be there? Are we bound by law to give that money back?
No, I don't believe that we're bound by law. The only time you are bound by law is if there is no longer any debt related to the reason.
The bottom line is, though, that we just, my opinion, is that we just lied to the voters because we moved the pennies that they gave us to make the payment. Now we're using those pennies to balance our budget. And that's just my opinion.
Right, and the reason we're doing that is because there's a balance in there to facilitate the payment. So the pennies are no
But
longer.
again, were you done? I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt.
No, it's going to be a long conversation.
No, just one more time, just to make the statement.
Uh-huh.
The voters gave us the right to raise the money to make the payment, whether there was a beginning balance in there or not. We're using those pennies for something else. And what
Correct.
scares me, and I'll just make this one statement and we're done. Well, maybe not done, but what scares me is that we're fixing to go up for a bond election, that the bond covenants that we're going out says that we could raise taxes $78 per $100,000 balance.
Okay.
So in saying that, the voters need to understand that it might not go to the sports complex, because history just showed us today that that's not what we did with the life. And that's going to be my only statement.
Right. I don't know.
And like you said, we go back and forth
Right.
all day
This
long,
is
but
this
I mean,
is my first year
It is
here.
what it is, and that's
Right.
the fact.
This is my first year here. Why the balance was where it was, it really doesn't matter. It was there, and it needs to come down. That's what it needs to come.
Yes,
On
sir.
all of our legal documents, it states that we should not be carrying a balance that high in our fund.
And I understand we're trying to fix it. Just what scares me is that what they gave us the right to go do, now we're using that money somewhere else. And I understand we have a fund balance.
For a very short period of time. Then it will have to be rededicated back to INS so that those pennies will facilitate the payment. But it's just right now, those pennies are not needed to facilitate the payment.
I understood.
For 2 years.
You know, and the only thing that scares me by doing this, and I know y'all have gone through the numbers, and, you know, y'all have also asked Mr. Villaseñor if our bond counsel, Fay, actually thought that this was the right thing to do, and he said yes. I understand all that. But we're just sort of band-aiding along here, in my opinion.
We can look more than likely,
No.
back in 2013, there was probably a balance there to begin with. Before the
My other concern was on the 910, the way we borrowed the money,
Mhm.
and I think y'all are fixing that because bottom line, what we had done in the past was wrong. You and Aaron have both said that it needed to be a long-term deal, more than a month. And I will say that I still have a concern on how we're going to use that money within the budget. If it's part of my balance right now of the 1-point-some odd million dollars, and if we're going to use it to make payroll and stuff, I believe that, and I'll say it one more time, I believe it.
If that's possible, but there's no intention of that.
Okay.
It's, yeah,
And we
it
also-
shouldn't happen, and it's not going to happen.
So, you finish?
Yes, sir.
Another thing is, we're also pressed for time if you want to raise your proposed tax rate. Right now is the time to do it, because we need to have some public hearings and publish them and all that. So,
Well, and to address that, we moved the pennies over. When we go to move them back, even if the wind farm comes on and everything, we move the pennies back. Y'all's plan is to move the pennies back to INS next year, the following year. This fiscal year we're thinking about, but what would be y'all's plan? When would y'all move them back?
We would move them back when there's no longer funds to facilitate our
So
debt
like,
payments.
what are you looking at?
2 years. Well, if nothing happened, which we don't know if it's going to happen, if nothing happened, it would be 2 years.
Maybe 2 years.
2 years.
And with that, we have to send a letter to Attorney General's office stating that our revenue exceeds our expenditures. That would be the way that we would get, that statement would be true in order for our bond to go through. There's a letter that's sent, my understanding, that we have to send to Attorney General's office in order to purchase, in order to go through the bond process,
Okay.
that our revenue exceeds our expenditures. In moving the pennies, then that happens, and that's a true statement. If we don't move the pennies.
Our revenue as a whole, or is the revenue in a
As a
certain
whole.
fund? As a whole? Okay. Well,
okay,
Is that going to be a true statement?
that our operating revenues exceed our operating expenditures without the addition of carrying over fund balance.
No, I guess what I'm getting at is that we're considering, I am, tax rate increase. I just want to make sure that if the voters pass this bond, which again, I'm completely against it, but if they pass it, that we've done our job as a court to make sure that we don't have any issues with the bond. there's a statement in there that I've been told by bond counsel and our previous auditor that our revenues need to exceed our expenditures. So if we move the pennies over, we took care of the general fund.
Mhm.
But when you look at the overall revenues compared to our expenditures for the following year, will the revenues exceed our expenditures? Overall, altogether. If they don't, then we really need to consider some type of 1 or 2 pennies of a tax increase to make sure that that statement's correct if the voters approve the bond. That way we're not sitting here and, they approve it and we can't issue bonds because our revenues do not exceed our expenditures. So I'm just asking for a plan. I mean, do our revenues exceed our expenditures, even moving all this back and forth?
With fund balance, it does. Without the addition of fund balance, it does not.
So that it doesn't. But the revenues coming in do not exceed our expenditures.
Operating revenues do not equal operating expenditures. Correct.
So in saying that, if we did a 1 or 2 cent increase this year, with whatever our values are going to come in next year, and hopefully the wind farm comes in, then the statement would be correct that our revenues would exceed our expenditures. If the voters approve the bond, then we're covered.
Next year, if no additional expenditures were added, correct. That would be correct.
Just to add a little bit more to it, I just talked to Mr. Cerny on Friday afternoon, and the wind farm should be coming online 6 to 8 weeks. Is that true, Matt?
That is true, at 100%.
At 100%.
At 100%.
So the statement that they told me is a year and a half is wrong. So they will be coming on in January?
Correct.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Cerny said he talked to someone different. He said this person was in the know. Apparently, according to him. But the wording that I got from the appraisal district was 100%.
Okay.
online.
And that money, I mean, there's different ways of basing it, but you're still, if we use the calculations that Brackett did, it was $2.5 million per tower, the numbers that you looked up and the numbers you gave me.
I said 2.5 million per
Well, that's
tower?
what it worked out to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what it worked out to. You didn't say 2.5, you gave me a total dollar amount of
Okay.
$135 million, and we divided the towers.
Okay.
They came out to 2.5 million. This wind farm's going to be about 69 towers.
Okay.
Or not about, but that's what evidently the guy in the know, if you want to use that, said.
Yeah.
And if you use that, we'll generate about 900 and some odd thousand dollars.
Yeah, once again, tower, I don't know the capacity rate of that tower or how much that tower is supposed to generate.
So we don't know how much what it's going to generate in revenue.
These are all estimates,
Mhm.
absolutely.
So again, I go back to, it scares me that when we're asked this statement by the Attorney General, if the voters approve the sports complex, then that we might not be able to issue bonds because we've not raised the tax 1 or 2 cents to help this year. And then next year with the other values coming on, that it helps us with that too. Your statement.
And so, my question still, do we want to raise our tax rate or we don't?
Make a motion to leave the effective rate.
Okay, there's a motion. I need a second.
Motion's what?
To leave the effective rate, which
Second.
is what is it, .5237?
I'll second that.
I think
Martin
Martin already.
Oh, you did?
Any more discussion?
Any
Okay,
comments or?
What are your comments?
I said, yeah. Okay.
No, go ahead.
Being indifferent and being independent on the goals and the vision of the court, and this is your budget. But as the saying goes, don't tell me your vision, your goals, your priorities. Show me your budget, and I'll tell you what those are. So, are they to finance projects, public works, expand public programs, donate to 990s, or is it simply just to govern and let everyone else figure it out? Now, when your budget differs from your tax rate, then we have an unbalanced budget, and then that's when we need to go to work. So currently, that is the situation that we have. But we do need to keep in mind about the future revenue that we're expecting to come online with the wind farms, the possible increase in appraised values, and we have to keep in mind our other not favorable things about the Frontera project and possible revenue caps in 2 years, which revenue cap would cut the ability to raise in half from 8% to 4%. So I hope that's just something that we just need to keep in mind, because this is the court's budget, vision, goals, priorities that the voting public elected you to do for your leadership. Okay.
So
We've been fighting revenue caps for the last 15 years.
Okay.
This argument has been going on in Austin for as long as I can remember, revenue caps. There hasn't been a lot of interest in the legislators to look at these revenue caps. They only want to do revenue caps on counties and cities, not school districts. So that's why there's been some kickback in Austin of not to pass revenue caps at this. So we'll see what happens in 2 years.
Okay.
I agree with you, Matt. I think we're,
He's not making a recommendation.
No.
well, you made a statement. The statement was a lot more eloquent than mine. Mine is, I think you need to raise taxes point blank. You're not giving that answer.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying something,
Well, it's-
your goals.
But at the rate we're going, I mean, it's inevitable. I mean, we cut, somewhat almost $1 million out of this budget.
Yeah, that's
Right.
right.
And we already had a lot of the departments already bouncing on bottom anyway. You know, some of them it's not going to affect, some of them it's going to hurt. You know, but we're not willing to raise the taxes a little bit in order to provide basic services. I have 2 fire trucks that are down with no way to accomplish to pay for them. You know, we go out for a tax note. We can do this, we can do that, but you're moving the pennies. I mean, I just think we're going down the wrong road. And you're moving pennies that the voters, they gave us the right to do it because it was going to be for the library. I mean, we're just going down a slippery slope, I think. And, you know, we're going out for another bond election. And again, I'm going to say if there's $78 with $100,000 value that thing says that we can go up to. So again, if you give me the right to go do it, history has shown that we're going to go do it, and then we're going to go do whatever the hell we want to go do with those pennies. And we're just proving that right now with the court. That's it.
Okay, yeah, just to restate my position, I am indifferent. It doesn't matter. It's just your vision on your budget needs to be the same vision on your tax rate. That's all.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes.
Mhm.
First thing on the budget, on page 102, you're talking about a capital expenditure with detail on 157 through 159. I don't think I'll attach 157 through 159.
Oh, it's because it's zeros.
Hmm?
It's zeros, so we didn't attach it.
That 157, 159 was for last year.
Mhm. The 17-18 is a zero budget, the capital outlay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then the page should not exist.
Well, it has to exist because we have to show 2 years. So since there was activity within the last 2 years, it has to be shown in the budget.
So you're taking the 157, 159 out, the page numbers?
We could put them in there and just leave blank if that's desirable. We could do that. So
I would just think you'd want to take it out, but not to show it.
I would love to take it out, but we can't because we have to show it.
No, take the 157 through 159. Reference.
Oh, reference. That's a great idea. Thank you.
And the other thing is, again, I take the position that my assistant county attorney should have the same base salary as the assistant district attorneys, the first and second assistants.
Yeah, well, she wanted me to comment. Are you filming? Okay. All right, there's a motion and a second. Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 1. Thank you, Matt.
That's it, okay?
Okay, but getting back to my point about my assistants versus the DA's assistants. My request is that mine have the same base salary as the DA's. It's either a yes or a no.
Base salary.
143.
It's like 74, 75,000.
No, it's not.
It's not, well, give me the answer.
Oh, we've got it coming in at 81, but,
You just got, but that's,
that's current, county obligation, correct?
okay, but that's a district.
District, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, and I was saying is hers is like 74, 75.
Correct, it is.
You left me hanging.
Oh, I'm sorry, what?
No, you answered it now, it's like you started, no, that's wrong, you didn't give the answer.
Now, we may have to reset those to go back to what they originally were, but the first assistant was here throughout the whole time, but I think out of all the things that were done on Friday, I think that may have been one that we just didn't bring in at base, because it didn't affect this year's current number.
So what was the base pay for the first assistant?
74?
74.
74.
On the DA.
58.
For the DA? I think we ought to just be fair about it. I mean, if we're gonna adjust the base pay on the DA's, first assistant, we should do it for honest office also. Do it there or not do it at all?
Okay.
Did we adjust the base pay for the district attorney?
Well, the numbers that he presented are the numbers you gave him.
Mhm. But did we adjust the base pay then? I mean, because
The base pay.
we
We
didn't,
used the base pay
that's what the
as
numbers.
what
were
the
now,
numbers would have been if
2012.
they would have stayed with us,
Right.
Right.
So we
Now, we
didn't,
can reset those to the base pay that they were in
which
2012.
was the motion that I made 2 meetings ago to do for the county attorney when I got in trouble for it.
No, you didn't get in trouble. I said I would wait until what you went to the district attorney, and y'all added,
Commissioner Flores, was your motion to keep both base pays at the 81
no, he
cents?
didn't make the motion.
Well, I'll make that as one of a motion, to be fair to both departments. We go one way or we go the other way.
Oh, but okay, there's the
I
motion.
mean,
What was the bill, what was the dollar again? Matt, that way it's on the record, 81,000 what?
6.707.
What page is that again, Matt?
143.
143?
Correct.
143.
I pulled down and I didn't pull his.
Now, is this just for the first assistant, or
no, first and second.
first and second assistant? Okay.
While we're here.
Why wouldn't I do it?
How much is your second assistant make now?
63.
63? Bump them up to 69?
Mhm.
Wow. So your second assistant would be getting a $5,000 raise, is that right?
Mhm.
Do you already have a second assistant?
Mhm.
Who is the second?
Jason.
Oh, okay. Do you want to make that a form of motion, Commissioner?
I'll make that in a form of motion, Judge, that if we're gonna go by this budget and looking at the numbers, DA's first assistant and second assistant will make, I think we ought to give that money also to, honest people, first assistant and second assistant attorney.
And Judge,
So there's a motion, you want to second?
No, no, that's second.
Okay. Anybody want to
I'll make
second
a
it?
comment after somebody seconded it. Somebody's gonna second.
So there's a motion, no second, motion dies. All right, you want to make a comment?
I got it.
Okay. All right, and let's go to item number 7.
Just for my clarification, are we leaving those base pays in the DA? Or are we resetting to what they were in 2012?
You have the numbers for 226? Why'd you bring it up?
Because I didn't know. it was gonna be that.
But you brought it up?
Yeah.
You're real good about bringing stuff up and having numbers.
Um,
You want to come back to it a little bit after you get us the numbers?
yeah, we can. I can make a phone call and we can get those numbers.
All right. That it?
Yeah.
Okay, you can come back to that one. All right, let's go to item 7, progress report on DEAG grant, Lofton Air Force Base. Mr. Murphy, go ahead.
Morning, Judge.
Morning.
Clerk. This will be quick. On August the 28th, we had the walkthrough and documented the punch list. We had 45 items on the punch list to date. 30% of that has been complete. They're still working on it, and we want to see completion within roughly 10 days. It's an estimate, but that's the best they can give me at this time. Mr. Esser also provided each commissioner with Exhibit B of the quarterly project status report. We have submitted for reimbursement, $1,647,089. I'm sorry, $1,647,089.54. That's been submitted to the state grant reimbursement. And of that, we are holding $556,146.88 worth of checks, waiting on the completion, the final date, when the Form 1354 is complete and signed off by the base commander. We can turn the keys over, and then we'll release the last payments to all the contractors.
How much are you holding?
$556,146.88.
And also, we've got the warranty on the roof, the way we wanted it.
That is correct. I have not heard the finals on it, but we had all the parties agree on what part of the roof warranty their responsibility fell under, and they were going to put a joint warranty together that Laughlin was satisfied with.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Any questions? Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
No, it's good. I don't want the answer. Just leave it alone.
All right. Next, we have item 8, Rob Stevenson, Director, Executive Director of Equity CDC presentation. Go ahead.
Good morning, Judge, County Commissioners. Thanks for having me before you again. I'm here before you this morning for a bit of housekeeping. We need to do amendment number 2 on the Self-Help Center contract. We exceeded our program measures in all aspects except for one, and that was turnout of computer classes. We exceeded the number of classes we needed to have by almost 4 times, and we just couldn't get the response from the community. We not only tried in Albuquerque Park Estates, Commissioner Flores was gracious enough for us to try the community center down there in Cienfuegos, and we just couldn't get the turnout we hoped for. We advertised, we went on social media, we handed out flyers, and we just couldn't get it. We just didn't have the interest from the people in computer classes. It's just one of those go-figure moments for me. Put it out there. But anytime we reduce the number of beneficiaries in a contract, the state makes us go through an amendment process. That's it. We've exceeded the measures on all of the ones.
Okay, so I need a motion to
I'll make a
approve.
motion to approve the amendment and authorize the judge to sign.
There's a motion.
Second.
Second. Any questions? If not, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Thank you.
sir.
Item 9, discuss possible action on allowing the Whitehead Memorial Museum to obtain beer and wine license for TABC and sell beer and wine in annual Oktoberfest fundraiser on Saturday, September the 30th, from 10 a.m. to 12 a.m.
10 a.m., a little early to start drinking, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they wanted. That's what they wanted. Okay, I need-
Motion.
There's a motion, need a second?
Second.
Second. Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Next, discuss possible action regarding the request funds for the employee appreciation banquet. And this is the Christmas, and right now, I think, just for clarification, we're still penciled in for Civic Center, but they're having problems with mold. So if we cannot use the Civic Center, we also have reserved the Via Hermosa. That's outside. I know it's December, and it shouldn't be that hot. But at this point, the city is dealing with mold problem, and we can't be allowed to use it, which is December 15th. That's the reserve date. If we want to be allowed to use it December 15th, then we'll go to the alternate plan of using the Via Hermosa, which is also reserved for that same day.
The Via Hermosa is the outdoor one.
The one that has a pavilion.
Via Bonita.
But we tried the
It's Via Bonita.
Empress, but it's so expensive that, we don't have the money to.
Judge, the reason I brought that up is Via Bonita.
Oh, Via Bonita.
Via Bonita.
Okay, I'm sorry. But in other words, that's our alternate plan. Hopefully the city will get the mold problem fixed between now and December 15th. I'm hoping, so we should.
And you're requesting what?
Yeah. But we need to have funds to do deposit on all those things.
Judge,
That'll come out of next year's budget or this year's budget?
I think with this year's budget.
This year's.
budget.
well, you can't.
No, it'll be
No,
next year's.
budget.
Yeah.
Judge,
Next year's
Mad heart attack over there.
Judge, if for some reason when you have the money to get a place or something like that, why don't we consider the community center? I mean, the outdoors is big enough.
Well-
plenty of parking,
Okay.
everything.
Okay, we'll consider, we also considered, but we could not fit that the, Ramada Inn offered to lend it to us, but we can't fit 250 people in there. So that's a good suggestion. We'll try different options, but at this point, we want to give deposit on things so we can, at least can have something done.
Can you wait till October 1st to give deposits? So
Yeah.
it comes out of next year's budget?
Yeah, but because the next meeting is after October 1st, that's why.
Make a motion to authorize the money, out of next year's budget for the deposit.
There's a motion, I need a second.
How much is that gonna be?
Well, we don't know,
Oh,
depends on which
Got it.
one we take, so,
Got
but
it.
it'll be after October 1st. Okay,
Who's second?
there's a second, Commissioner Warner. All right, there's a motion and a second, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Okay, item 11, discuss possible action regarding moving parks, building maintenance, and fairgrounds under the control of the Commissioners Court and the day-to-day operations under the control of the county judge.
I'd like to make that motion, Judge, effective immediately.
I would second
Okay.
that for sake of discussion.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Is that it?
Yeah,
No, I've got a presentation.
okay, go ahead.
He did. Be close in case I mess up here.
Is that the fairgrounds?
Huh?
The first picture, yeah. Boy, you've changed a lot.
Yeah, it changed everything. Let's see if we can- First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Mordock. I think his family is one of the ones that, at the fairgrounds that have actually donated the property. Was it your granddad, Martin, or somebody?
Correct.
Granddad, right?
That's it.
Yeah, so I want to thank him for that. There's been some concerns that some of the times that I've spent money that I've not come and asked the court for permission in order to do certain things. There's also been some concerns about hiring an engineer, which I completely agree with. and they should be in charge of the fairgrounds. And the way we do that is that you would go in and, we could build them an office, you could have room there, and the major projects, that engineer would be in charge of. But in saying that, some of the things that we do on a day-to-day basis, I completely disagree with putting it under the control of the court, just because the issues that we have on a day-to-day basis, you don't have time. Whether this court votes to give it to the judge is, I think there's two separate issues here. One of them is the day-to-day operation. Again, I completely disagree with it. I'd like to keep it, but if it goes to the court, we'll do it, or it goes to the judge, I'd do everything possible to help him, make sure that he gets done. Let's see how this works. Some of the stuff that we go through, and that it's different, and it is building maintenance. But some of the stuff, because I'm there, we get calls 3, 4, 5 times a day what to do. For example, the doors at the community center there in Comstock, it should have been a simple deal, but the way it was built and the way the purlins were and everything, we got a phone call to go do that and advised how to go do it. We ended up installing doors at the community center there in Comstock. The other deal is I was asked for bleachers. At the Comstock Independent School District, we provide bleachers for the school district. At one point, we were providing 5 of them that Parks and Maintenance would go, go back. It was Hyman, Precinct 3, his crew, and Parks and Maintenance would go out and haul, 4 sets of bleachers every time they had track, and I think that's been going on for 4 or 5 years. So if I have to ask permission for all this, this wouldn't get done. The fire station, when we had the storm, within the next day, the day after of the fire station, when the roof got blown off, we went in and bought tin with building maintenance materials and redid the roof and everything. And then after, we got paid back, but it was something that happened right away. Little stuff that we go do, like, is it part of building maintenance? Well, I don't know, but we do it. This building here, there was a building twice this size that the sheriff's office, that we ended up tearing down. We actually built sockets and made wrenches to be able to take the screws off the building in order to put this building up, which it was something that I drew the foundation plans, did all the concrete work, and then my guys, we went through and we accomplished the project. The battered woman shelter, that's something that's been brought up, that how come I'm not done yet? It took 5 years, almost 5.5 years, just to get approval to do it. $75,000 from GEO that Commissioner Ramiro Ramon secured for us. Right now, we've used about $90-some-odd thousand to build it. There's 4,505 square feet in this building. Just the slab and the roof itself, or the framing itself, the siding, putting in the windows and the electrical. If we had done it with outside people, it would have cost us a little over $32,000. When is it going to be done? As soon as we have the time to go do it. We could put more money towards it if the commissioners wanted to. But the reason it's not done is because we're using county employees to go do it. One of the main things that, the meter loop on this building here, I design, we go out and I go out and design the meter loop, figure a load on the building, a load on the AC units, and that's something that I go do just because of my experience. This is animal control. It's about 2,100 square feet. When we get done, which hopefully this month we'll get done, except for the septic system, and we're working on a company to help us with the septic system. But it'll hold 10 dogs. It's 10 dogs and 2 in quarantine. It'll have its office, a restroom, and a facility to store food. It's about 2,100 square feet. We've done all of it except the block work with county employees. I got a text a little while ago from Cynthia, my secretary, and we're a little bit short of 700 work orders since October 1st to now. So when people ask, how come we're not getting this stuff done? Well, we've got other projects going on. This trailer, just because we have a good working relationship with 4-H, this trailer has been parked at 4-H for at least 5 years. We used to do animal control with Jorge Escamilla's truck and trailer, Sergio Rocha's truck and trailer, and whoever else we could show up. So we ended up borrowing 4H's trailer. It's got exempt plates, it has exempt plates on it. But we put new boards, new tires, new wiring, and if they need it, they've used it a couple of times, and we use it a lot more. We've picked up cows, horses, sheep, and everything else, bigger livestock, even for the city when the sheriff asked us to go do it. The building across the street, again, come to the court to ask permission. This building across the street took over 2.5 years for the court to allow me to get $20,000 to build this building across the street, and it's fully occupied. We built it with county employees. The meter loop, the electrical, we designed, and it happened. The county attorney's office, we re-roofed it before we had insurance money. I didn't come to the court for permission, we just got it done. This is a cabinet that we're building right now, and I've got some extremely talented employees, just unbelievable. Been very blessed with both my precinct 2 and my parks. But this is a cabinet that we just got done on the second floor for the JP's office. We still need to stain it. If you'll notice, we got new carpet in there. We've installed new carpet in all 4 JP's offices, new code base, and even the county attorney's office. We bought it in bulk in order to be able to get the price down. Again, coming back to the court for that, I don't know if I get permission to do it. But we picked a couple of different styles and let them pick a couple of styles, and then got a consensus on the type of carpet that they wanted. Didn't give them just a lot of choices, because I didn't want to end up having different styles and different carpet in every room. And the cost would have gone up. We repainted this room. This room is where Mrs. Ramon actually had her files. She's now across the street. When I got here, we didn't even have we had executive session right here where we're at. Everybody'd have to leave. But that's the table that I bought. Me and my wife went to Ashley's and went to every furniture store in town looking for a table so we could have executive session. And these are things that are, not normal. The building here, when we first came in, there was window units. Every office had a window unit. We had $170,000, if I'm not mistaken, for a grant to put in AC units. We did the AC units, and they didn't work. And then after that, I asked the court, and this is when I did come before the court, because we needed some money, so it was about $150,000 that the court allowed me to go out with no issues, and we secured bid, put a sheet together that is what we were expecting of them. And the reason I'm showing this picture is because we actually made cardboard boxes, because with the Historical Commission, we made cardboard boxes to put them on top of the corners there, because they wanted to make sure that the AC units weren't going to be seen. So we made cardboard boxes, put them on top of the building, and took pictures of it and sent it to them to make sure. The other units, we put them over here, the outside units, and again, that was with the court. This building here, we re-roofed, again, before we ended up with insurance money. At the sports complex, we've thrown concrete. I designed the concrete, shot the grades, did a material list for the metal roof, the screens that you'll see in the next couple of pictures, the safety rating that we never had and that we have now, the netting again, the yellow rail that you can see, that's something that between me and Roy, we've looked up and sort of decided that we needed it, and we got it done. You'll see some lights here in this picture here that we actually went out, me and Seth dug the holes personally for the 4 light fixtures that are there on the bottom. On these pictures here out to the soccer fields, we've gone in and actually bladed these fields here completely, removed all the grass, hauled in a couple thousand tons of sand, put up the little roofs and the bleachers that you see way back in the back. Again, there's a little curve there over to the left-hand side that we went in and put in just to try to keep the water off the parking lot by going into our fields. Again, you'll see the little roofs. Again, the bleachers. And we're going to come across a picture here where the bleachers, and I'll just stick with that real quick. We ended up with over $35,000 worth of bleachers because we have a good working relationship with Federal Surplus in San Antonio. We paid $975 for all the aluminum bleachers, but if we were to buy them new, it would have been over $35,000. Right to the right of the truck, it looks a little dark, but all that netting, the court had actually set aside $100,000, which had never been done before, for the 4-H buildings and show barns. The netting there, we already run out of money, but we did the netting, so we couldn't have the pigeons and stuff in this building. Commissioner Nettleton's crew, Hyman, all them, I designed the pins. There's 29 pins, holding pins. They're a little over 200 some odd foot long, 28 foot deep, but there's 29 of them. I designed the pins in order to be able to, not to waste as much material, just according to the size of the material. And you know, we didn't ask for permission, we just got it done. This thing right here, our crew, we couldn't get the concrete trucks up underneath the show barn. So we ended up having to dig, and I designed where we were going to dig out in order to be able to, and we dug out 4 to 5 feet of dirt in order to be able to run the concrete trucks back up underneath there to pour 3 different sections, and then we rode it in with tractors, the 2 sections that we had dug out. But this right here is 15,660 square feet that used to be dirt. And if we'd have paid and not used county crew to do it, it'd have been somewhere in the $19,000 range that we saved by using county crew. And the reason I keep bringing this stuff up is this is all stuff that, while I've been here, we've done that is out of the norm, it's out of the ordinary. And I don't think, well, I know, because, again, history's shown us that we hadn't got it done. So with the money that the court allowed and set aside $100,000, this is what we've done. I don't like using the word "I" a lot, but since y'all are trying to take it from me, I'll use it a little bit more. The lights, just simple things. Designing lights in order to have above the rabbits that they've never had. The restrooms there at the 4-H barn, at the show barn, we designed it. I actually did the plumbing in the slab and most of the plumbing in the walls myself and designed the electrical for it. The stalls were installed with donated material, and Billy Bob Black actually put up the stalls for us. Ira West and Frontera Road helped us with some of the design, and we were able to buy some of the doors through them at a significant cost savings. We spent over $15,000 close to $20,000 on ratings for the 4-H. And again, we have a good working relationship, I believe, with everybody that we deal with. When George Paul and Bobby Paul, or when Bobby Paul first came in, there was a discussion on what we were doing and what we were going to charge. And the first year, since there was no charge, we didn't do it. But we went back, set up a fee, the court approved it, and you know, he's been, I guess, one of my customers that we've had to talk to, and now if you'd ask him what he believes, and you ask the judges and everybody else, and baseball and soccer and everybody else, I think they're extremely happy with what we've done. The meter loop here, A&G put up the meter loop there at the show barn, but we've gone in and designed that. This thing here, we use the same panel, but we actually went in, we were called about 1 o'clock one night, or one morning to go, because the breakers kept popping. So the following year, we ended up pulling the wires, redoing the wires, and then estimating the amount of amps that everything was pulling. Some of the plugs that we put on these poles, we even split the plug to where you'd have it, on the top would be on one breaker, and on the bottom would be another breaker. The meter loop that's here, again, I designed it. M&P put it up. The AC units, there was 4 AC units put on this building that were donated. And we had to calculate a load and put those up. We've got lights at the front. Again, this is just out of the ordinary. But we've got lights at the front of the fairgrounds that we've never had for special events. We dug the holes, put them in, and the lights here at the parking lots and the entrance, we did all that. This thing here is just a water well. But with county crews and some jerry-rigging, we installed that pump. The well's 360 foot deep, and the pump is set about 335 feet. But we installed that at a savings to the county of over $1,000. And again, little simple stuff. We never had a flagpole up at the building, up at the fairgrounds. That's something that we did just at the beginning. The building in the back, we maintain all that. We start in
in May, with county crews for the events, because that's when our season really starts for the George Paul painting and everything. That antenna right there with help from Jaime, Precinct 3, and RAM, which helped us put it together. Nobody was complaining when I spent a couple $1,000s for internet for Precinct 3. These are the bleachers that I was talking about. We spent $975. And we have bleachers that are valued, if you look them up right now, over $30,000. Again, the meter loop, we had problems there at the concession stand because we didn't have sufficient power and stuff that actually caught on fire one day. And we ended up designing meter loop. We put it up, asked AEP to come out and disconnect what we had. We built the meter loop and they hooked it back up. This is a women's restroom that actually has a new women's restroom that we built. That's not the women's restroom. This is a men's restroom that if, the men know that before we did this, we had 3 stalls with commodes in this restroom. And there was a trough on the bottom of the floor. And you almost see like a white mark that runs on the bottom. There was a trough about 6 inches off the ground. And there was at least 3 instances that I was just walking around collecting trash during the event, that there was altercations in the restroom because they were peeing all over each other as they were using the restroom. There was no divider, so we tried to do something to somewhat bring it back up. Again, I designed all the stalls. We bought the metal, that formica that goes in the middle. We bought some plywood for it, and we ended up with some individuals that bought some surplus materials, and we ended up paying $15 for each one of those sheets, which they were 5x8 sheets, which are a little bit off, but they actually helped with us. But those sheets were regular, close $38, and they were brand new. Some of the stuff that I think if I was to come to the court to ask for permission, y'all would laugh me out. This little truck right here, it can be titled, it can be used on the road, it's roadworthy, but I spent $1,200 on this electric car. It freed up a super cab Ford pickup that I could use to put back on the road. And again, if I come to y'all, I don't think y'all would give me permission to do it. This forklift, we pick up, all kinds of material there. It saved us tons of time, and it's just a safety factor. Those boxes right there, there's 500 chairs in there that I bought. Brand new chairs. We've used them for 2 events so far that we've used all the chairs. And if we build a sports complex, get it done. If we need chairs, if we go to build another building or a gym or something like that, we've got the chairs. I couldn't pass up the value, and they're being used. We've actually gone out, and I don't have it on here. That's the women's restroom. These are the 11 stalls that's the restroom, the new women's restroom that we have there at the Fairlands. With 11 stalls, new vanities, AC unit. This is another truck that we've bought since I've been there. This court 2 years in a row took away $20,000 of capital outlay. That truck right there was bought with Precinct 2 money. Since then, we've bought other equipment for them and transferred some of the equipment back and forth because I did not have the funds within my parks to be able to do it. We rented a truck with the lights up front. When we put the lights up front, I had to go rent a truck to help me put the lights, to install the lights. And that truck was $900 a day. I could have rented the scissor lift or forklift or whatever, but they were $450, $600 a day, and Reno didn't have them and wasn't going to have them. We'd actually bought a snorkel lift for $6,500, but we bought it used. And we ain't been able to find anybody that can fix the tires on it so where they'll turn. Again, this is something that's out of the ordinary, but we have if you'll see the drapes in the back and the cushions, this is something that we've done. The Judge Valdez and Judge Cadena, we took off to other courtrooms to go see what they had and what they needed. And I was really surprised by when we put up the curtains, just the amount of noise the reduction in noise, and the amount, it was explained to me by the judges, the less noise as your court reporter's picking up or what's on the recording, the less noise you have in the courtroom, then if something happens, you go back and listen to the tape. If you don't have that noise, you're better off. And you know, we bought cushions, we bought drapes. All the chairs right there were purchased also. IT department has gone through and redone a lot of the IT stuff there, but in order to do that, we worked well with Rand. We've had to go in and redo the electrical, because the electrical that we had there didn't work. But again, I'm the one that designed the electrical and told them what type of amps and everything else to do there. The chairs, they're at the jury box. That was bought with Broadway money. All the chairs there. The tables, I think it's a CR 43, 93 or something. What's it called? 43. You know, everybody, that's the magic number that you got to come up to is what, 90%? If I'm not mistaken. You know, and you can ask Judge Cadena when we bought these tables for him, you know, if it's helped him get that number to where it needs to be, just because they can have conferences there, they don't have to go somewhere else, they can get it done. And that's something that Judge Cadena's working. The carpet, this area here, wasn't usable. I mean, they had it for storage. We went in and repainted it, laid carpet. It had a false ceiling. We had all kinds of wires, IT wires that were going across that over the last, I guess, 30, 40 years or 20 years, whatever, weren't needed. So we ended up cutting all that stuff out. The lights, they ran into an issue of how to mount the lights. We came up with an idea, or I came up with an idea to go through and build boxes for them and just install them. My guys stained them, installed them. The TVs, everything else in this courtroom, you know, the IT department put it up, but they still needed to have power. The signs, you know, just simple things. Well, what do we do for a sign? How much is it? Do we build it out of metal? Do we build it out of, you know, all that stuff? Those decisions are made every day. These boxes, you know, I think there's been some concern about not taking it out of the security fund. You know, my bad for not asking for permission to take it out of the security fund, maybe. But they got done. The trip that we took with Judge Cadena and Judge Valdez, this was something that was in every courtroom. Every courtroom that we went to, they had these boxes. They asked me if I would do it. We ordered 2 sets of boxes probably 6, 8 months ago. We ordered another set of boxes probably 4 months ago, maybe, something like that. You asleep? About 4 months. The roof at the community center, Commissioner Flores poured the concrete. Commissioner Flores had somebody do the tin. The building maintenance installed the lights, paid for the lights. We went in and figured the load on the lights and came up with a plan of what size wire to run to how far down, whether to run 10 or 12 or the AC units there. This building here, Commissioner Flores also installed computers. Well, you got what, 8, 9, 8? You know, and again, I'm sorry I didn't ask for permission, but I did. I put in a mini split in this unit here, just like we put in mini splits across the deal. You know, you can't function, whether you want to take it from me and give it to Judge Valdez, you know, that's one issue. But to have it in the control of the court, I believe it's a complete mistake. You know, I came to ask y'all for some money to build some baseball fields and an indoor arena, basketball. And that stuff has to come through y'all. You know, I think. It's just my opinion. But these are the restrooms at Gus Flores Park. That we framed. He hired somebody to do the plumbing, but we did everything else. But, you know, this is something, the lights, I personally, dug every light at this park. I had Parks tie the steel, Commissioner Flores' crew, through the concrete and put up the lights. But then after we got that done, after we ran the pipe to go from light to light, and we split it up. We went some up the hill, some down the hill. But you had to know what each light was pulling and put that into perspective in order to figure a load. That's what I do. Little simple things. Flags, the flag posts. You know, design the parking lot for wind measure to make sure that between the lines on your handicap and your space between the blues, all that's right before they paint it. That's what I do. This is actually my first project when I first came in. We'd had a kid jump the fence, escape. And they asked me if I would go in and build something over the top, or build something to design something, but they still needed to shoot basketball to be able to function, and that the kids wouldn't escape. So that was my very first project when I was handed this task, was to design something so the kids wouldn't be able to get out. This is a transfer switch. We had a generator over at juvenile detention office that didn't work. Well, it worked for a little bit, about 5 minutes, and then it'd go off. And I think I hit the wrong button, but we're good. The generator, the one you were going to see in the last deal, that's a generator that we paid $4,500 for. I called Roy, and I called Frank when he was here at the time, to ask them if we could go ahead and purchase it, because we were having issues. It's a 400 amp generator. It's a 3-phase generator. It's a 3-phase generator, but we have single phase there. But the reason it was bought is because I know the difference between single phase and 3-phase, and I knew that I could do away with one leg and still have it function. That generator, again, is a 400 amp. We have about $10,000 in the transfer switch and everything else, and if I'm correct, y'all just spent on brand new about $36,000 on the same size generator that y'all have over there, but it's brand new. This one's used. I had to make a decision right then and there, because when I went to the federal surplus, they had told me that they had two other counties wanting it, and with the help of Roy and the help of Frank Lowe, I called and told them how much it was. They said, we can write a PO, tell them it'll take about 3 days, and they secured it for us. But this wouldn't happen unless I was here again. I think there's a couple of questions at hand. One of them is, do you take it away and give it to Judge Valdez? And the other one is, do you bring it back up under the control of the court? I would rather that y'all don't take it away from me, because I think I'm doing a pretty good job. And the experience that I bring to y'all, and don't get paid for it, which I haven't asked for money. When Commissioner Wardlaw brought this up to me, I guess last week, right, Martin? Last week, the week before. Like I told him, we've been at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, vacuuming shit up off the floor when the commode overflows, urine, and then have worked till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, Cloroxing everything down. At the 63rd, 83rd, this year alone, we've been at the library a couple of times to go do that. I didn't think it was fair. And not only that, when my foreman goes, he always calls other people, but most of the time when it's that late in the evening, nobody's going to answer their phone. So I go with him, and we take care of this. And again, I'll do everything. If y'all let me have it, I'd appreciate it. If y'all take it away, we'll just have to work together, and we'll go on to the next thing. I do think that y'all be making a mistake. Thank y'all. Thank you.
Any more discussion on it? Okay, there's a motion and a second. Okay. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 4-1. Motion passes. Thank you. Let's take a 10-minute break. Thank you. Let's go to item number 12. Discuss the possible action to use the grassy area in the main entrance of Beverly County Fairgrounds for bazaar or yard sale.
Judge, we brought this up once before. The concern was if they were going to continue to use it or not, and this would be a one-time event.
Okay.
It's going to be classified as the biggest bazaar in Texas or something.
Really?
Yeah. Now, they've got a lot of people that are already going to go through. Let me see.
Who's putting it on?
It's the individual, can't think of his name. Well, it's not, we're on, and we're being filmed, and I can't think of his name. Javier's son, I'm sorry.
Okay.
He's the one putting it on, and this is, it says Del Rio's largest yard sale, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and they're going to donate a bunch of the proceeds also to a charity. He just texted right now
that if we had an idea of, he says, "Good morning, sir, there is a flyer, if you can just tell me what charity we're going to donate the money to." So,
What date is that, Commissioner?
it would be Saturday, November 11th. And there's a fee, if I'm not mistaken, it's like a couple $100, the fee rate that we set for last go-round. Should be
$250, I
I
thought.
think so, yeah.
Okay. Okay,
So I'd like to make a motion and let them use it. And then if the court has any idea of who they would want, maybe like the Red Cross or something. I don't know. But if y'all give me an idea of who, then we can get this to it.
okay. There's a motion and a second. Okay, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Okay, 5-0. All right, item 13, discuss possible action on the lease agreement between Val Verde County and the ABO Youth Soccer League for the use of the 60 acres.
We'd mowed off an area there. We've got 9 baseball fields there, but we mowed off an area that they'd used for flag football and soccer. And these people that come to us wanted to know if they could use it. I'd like to make a motion to let them use it.
Motion second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. And item 14, discuss possible action on allowing adult women's softball league to use the Alcoa field.
We have baseball teams right now that are practicing there, and we have a football team and stuff, but these individuals that would use this would not, there would be no conflict with the other uses of them. They have been instructed, we allowed a softball and a kickball team to use it one time, and they'd actually they were drinking, and that's the reason that we quit. But these people have been informed that there would be no alcohol on the premises. I would make the motion that we allow them to use it.
There's a motion second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nobody, 5-0.
It's the only day I get all 3 items passed.
Item 15, discuss possible action on accepting property about Amistad North Shore. We got a copy of that.
There was a gentleman, and I think the county attorney had visited with the gentleman. They have a piece of property out in Amistad North Shores that the appraised value went from $500,000 to $75,000. They no longer want it, and they want to donate it to the county. I don't know that we personally have a lot of use for it, but I guess we can auction it off at a later date. And you visited with these people?
Mhm. He said at this point, he thought he was landlocked. He wasn't familiar with the neighboring owners.
Yeah, and I'm not familiar with it either. So,
You want to table it?
I'll make a motion to table until we can look at it a little bit further.
Second.
There's a motion second. Okay, all those in favor for the motion be tabled, say aye.
Aye.
You remember that subdivision that they canceled part of it?
Mm-hmm.
That's where that is.
Yeah, and I don't remember if he got locked out or not.
All right, next, item 16, discuss possible action regarding the selection committee results and resolution regarding award, grant writing, and grant administration for proposed 2017 CDBG STEP Fund project.
Here are the tally sheets for the submittal.
Guess you could go with group 2, right?
Let's see. Submitting for the professional administration services was only one Esser & Company, so therefore,
Motion to approve Esser & Company.
Second.
There's motion second, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, thank you. The next, item 17, discuss possible action regarding the selection committee for results and resolution regarding the award for engineering service for proposed 2017 Texas CDBG STEP Fund project.
We had 2 submissions one from KSA, one from PRC.
Who's
The evalu-
KSA?
excuse me?
Who's KSA? Where are they from?
San Antonio. The evaluators score KSA 380 and PRC 353, so therefore the high score is KSA.
Motion to approve.
There's a motion, we need a second.
Second.
Second, Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Next, discuss possible action, discuss possible action regarding the selection committee results regarding the architectural, the design and develop construction plans for county administration buildings.
We had 3 submissions, and these are the score results.
I got a question. We're going through this process, where are we getting money?
That's a good question.
I mean, I don't understand why we go through all this if we don't have the funds. I mean, are we just gonna go through it just to appease somebody? And, I mean, I don't know. Just a comment. I mean, we're going through all this. I know we voted to go do it, but I think we voted to go do it before we understood where we were at financially. I don't understand why we continue with the process.
You don't have any idea what it's gonna cost, do you?
No.
No, not until you actually
Hell,
get into a contract.
$10,000. Where are you gonna get the money? I mean, you know, you're gonna be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars range. We're trying to dig ourselves out of a hole, and it just seems like, I don't know. I'll quit. Maybe y'all want to table.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how we didn't even come up with a plan on how we're gonna.
I'll make a motion, Judge, to table it.
Okay, there's a motion. Need a second?
Second.
Second, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nobody. Thank you, 5-0. Fine, next, item 19, discuss possible action regarding the payment of executed purchase not complying with current purchasing policy.
If you don't have the, Candy, I have one for you.
Okay.
There was one on there that was the security.
Century Security.
Yeah, Century Security. That one was actually ordered by somebody else. But we've already talked to that individual and explained to him that he can't order. He can't do it, but it was still something we figured out.
I think this is updated.
So I wrote it out of building.
The Vista Group?
Sorry?
Vista Group? No, I mean the other one that's on there, the 5900, whatever. Vista Solutions Group. We just didn't do a PO, or?
That's correct.
What is it?
It's, I'll tell you right now.
Tax office.
That's our annual contract?
That's our annual contract. Vista Group, implementation, 2 users, professional service, installation, configuration testing, QA testing, enhanced subscription, included annual maintenance and...
That's their new scanning program. That's their new scanning program, to scan all of their stuff, correct?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
And we just didn't do a PO for it.
That's correct. It looks like there's multiple requests for moving money out of some accounts, or which accounts would be able to fulfill this amount. So some came out of postage, office supply, travel and training, computer maintenance, out of her budget to cover this. So evidently they weren't prepared to do it.
They weren't prepared to do what you lost.
To actually, I think they weren't aware that they were going to make this purchase. But yes, there was no purchase order made, because it looks like they had to do some mathematics to try to find the money.
Know that you're not gonna make the purchase. I don't understand.
She's amending the budget.
What?
She's amending the budget.
When did we amend?
She's come to the court to move the money around.
Well, that's what I'm saying, just like an explanation, I mean.
Well,
did we
at
move the
that
money?
point, she realized it.
Huh?
She realized it.
I think it's when the invoice came in, you realized, oh, I don't have the money, I have to put in a transfer. The transfer was made, then the money was available to pay the invoice. Unless you had something to
Yeah, the
add.
information we have on that is just, those are calculations that she's going to be reimbursed. Once again, since the grants are running inside of the department of expenses, she has juggled some money around to facilitate the payment, and she will get reimbursed on those expenses.
So the money's coming back.
Correct. But she had to juggle in order to get the PO to go through.
Motion approved.
Second.
The motion and a second. Okay, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, somebody, 5-0. All right, next, item 20, discuss possible action regarding the request for GK Cintas Uniform Services to waive the bid due to date formality and allow them to submit 2017-2018 bid for uniform services.
That's our current supplier of uniforms. They basically missed the bid. They were not aware of it, and they're asking if the court would still accept their bid.
But did you send out a letter to them?
Oh, we did. I mean,
So
we did minimum requirements. We posted on newspaper. We did send reminder emails to those that we have emails for.
Is he one of them?
Because, yes, J&K has merged, CTES has purchased J&K now.
Oh, we've already gone in open court with the other numbers.
Yes.
Yes, it would make sense.
All right.
I mean, I just make a motion to do
Yeah,
that.
that's fine. Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Nobody? Thank you. All right, item 21, discuss possible action regarding entry into contract for the expansion of the community center.
You all have, I presented you with the scope of work, the cost from Easy IQC, the Guardian Group.
This is through the by board.
That's correct. This group is construction consultants and the construction company together through the buy board provide contract services for buildings.
How much is it?
Where are you getting
Total
this?
amount is on the third page. Proposed total, $196,405.43.
How much money we have budgeted?
I believe there's.
We got 148, the difference, I told Judge and Matt that, we'll get it from, the tax note money for precinct 4.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Nobody?
So the bid's been all approved.
The bid was approved and the motion, and to take it out of what he just said, out of the.
Tax note,
Out of
the difference.
And then there's the item that talks about a contract.
Okay, I'll amend my motion that for the county attorney to review the contract before they sign it. Sure. And for the money to, the difference to come out of precinct 4's tax note.
Information for authorizing who to sign?
Authorize the judge to sign. But that's almost a given if you don't say
Well,
it.
we
Because
say
we've
it all
already
the
been
time.
through that.
We say it all the time. It's
Okay,
broken.
Yeah, but it's a given.
There's a second
But I'll put it
accept.
on my motion if you feel better.
There's a second accept.
Second accept.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Nobody? 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Miskis. All right, item 22, discuss possible action upon approval of the estimate from Torres Construction to paint and install new front doors for the district attorney's office to be paid on district attorney's payroll account.
Thank you, Commissioners. Good morning. How are y'all doing today? Judge, the reason I've asked for this and put this item on the agenda, or requested to be put on the agenda, is we're trying to get our doors put in at our office. We've had the doors since approximately mid-June of this year. And I know that Commissioner Owens has been very busy with other matters, and I understand that fully. I'm just trying to get these doors taken care of. These are very nice doors that we've ordered, that we paid for out of our own funds, and we're asking that these be put in. If we do it in this fashion, all I'm asking is that you allow for me to pay for it out of our payroll funds that we have right now. We still have enough in there to take care of this and still to work all the way through this this current month, which is going to end our fiscal year come October, September 31st, whatever.
Where are the doors?
In my office, right outside.
I've got a question when we get to it. One of the reasons that we haven't been able to get a lot of stuff done here, especially when we're dealing with subcontractors, is the insurance. But is he still going to have, he still has to meet those requirements?
Yes.
Right?
There should be. They should have to have insurance and all that.
And what we're running into?
Workers' comp.
Workers' comp
Well, the
insurance.
thing is though that it wasn't just workers' comp, it was general liability.
Right,
When
that's
we were
what
doing the painting.
Commissioner Nettleton said, yeah, and workers' comp.
Workers' comp, general liability, I'm assuming they have that, or I don't know.
I'm assuming they do, sir. I'll verify that.
Because that's what we've done a couple of times, is
Sure.
assume and then.
Right, no, I understand.
We need to verify it first. And if they don't, then something happens and we become liable.
I'd respectfully request at that point that you would table it, let me verify that information, I can bring it back to you.
Well, we can approve it pending.
Subject to?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the installation, the painting and installation of front doors out of the DA's payroll account pending, receipt of their general liability and workers' comp insurance.
That'd be fine. Yes, that estimate should have been forwarded to your office.
It says $1,950.
That's correct. And again, specifically, I want to make sure that this is going to be coming through our payroll account. Okay? Thank you so much.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
There's a motion, a second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Who seconded?
I did.
Okay.
And just to let you know, if I may, real quick, that one of the things we've also done, and I'll be glad to have y'all come in after we get a tour, we've actually redone our office upstairs, and we've made room now in our library, and now we're going to have we're going to have 2 individuals in there, so whenever we do hire, and I'm expecting to hire somebody pretty shortly for our Board of Prosecution unit as an investigator, then we're going to have enough space in there as well. So things are changing in there.
Okay. Don't leave, Mr. Bagley.
Yes, sir.
Since you're here and you need to leave, why don't we go to the amended agenda, item 3, discuss the possible action to request payout vacation for 3 district attorney's office employees. That's an addendum.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes. Okay, we gotta wait till after 11, so sorry. Sorry about
Not a
that.
problem. I'll wait.
We amended.
Not a problem, sir.
Okay, sorry about that, my mistake. All right, next we have item 23, discuss possible action regarding changes made to CFS for Mr. George Sosa, Veterans Officer. His CFS form requested attached.
Good morning. Need a directive from the board whether or not to allow access to to make changes to the CFS package for Mr. Sosa. We've included copies of the CFS request that he wants. The changes include a total of 9 categories. I reached out to Mr. Sosa last week for further detail. He was gone all week, so.
I didn't get it. You have the list?
Yes.
I got the list.
I didn't see it. Oh, okay. That's something else.
The only difference Mr. Sosa is asking is typically when you make a change to the CFS, you make it for one individual, either the department head or the secretary or somebody. He wants these changes applied to the entire staff.
In your opinion?
They fall fairly close in line to the research that he needs to do. I don't see anything yet.
Not only that, if worst case scenario, you could monitor it or something.
Yes, sir.
Right. Motion to accept.
Second.
There's a motion, a second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Item 24, discuss possible action on transportation reimbursement to Valverde County Sheriff's Office from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice.
Morning, Judge, morning, Commissioners. In June of this year, we became aware that we were entitled, the Sheriff's Office was entitled to reimbursement from TDCJ for transporting state prisoners across the state to the various units. So the first thing you'll see is I gave you a copy of the law that stated back in, or the directive that stated back in August of 1999 that allows that. So based on this finding we were unaware of, we submitted receipts from September of 2016 through June of 2017 in the amount of $8,673.50, which we got reimbursed a week and a half ago. About a week and a half ago, we got the check. We've given that check to Matt, and we're pending right now. We're pending a check for $1,678 for July of 2017. In looking at this, we can go back retroactively all the way to January of 2009 for reimbursement. The issue is going to be records. Do we have the records? We know we have the records to go back through January of 15, and we're pretty much guaranteed reimbursement. I don't have a dollar amount for you yet, But as you can tell by the sheets here, it averages anywhere between $500 to $1,500 a month, depending on how many inmates we transport.
Chief, where would that money be going back to?
Well, that's to hear what we're asking. We're asking that.
Just cut to the chase.
We want that money put into a line item account in Tyler that we could use against, because this overlaps years. So if you put it into our fiscal budget and you put a line item in, or you put it back into auto, we lose it at the end of the calendar year. But if we could put it to Tyler, then we could use that money against whenever we send deputies on transport. We could pay for that. And if the money accrues over time.
The key word there would be is we could. Could. Would you all the time until that money's expended? Because right now we're paying, the county is putting that bill.
You are, and this is a reimbursement.
I understand that, but now you get to keep it. And I'm not trying to be mean here, but you get to keep it. So I'd like to know, just my opinion, what are we going to do with it? The could is what scares me, because are you going to go use it for other things, and we're going to be funding the travel plus this?
In talking to the sheriff, he and I are in agreement. There's two things that we could do with the money. One is we could cover the transport costs of our deputies, which we would not be using other funds. But the other thing is that as this money grew, and I'll be honest with you, I don't have a total amount of how much money this is going to be. We might be able to buy a transport vehicle occasionally from, over every 3 or 4 years, depending on that. It's not going to solve the transport problem, but it's another way for reimbursement. When we were here a few weeks ago, we were asked to look for money. Well, we're looking for money, we're finding money. I just don't know how much this is going to be. If you take this, you're looking at about $1,000 a month average over the course of a year. It's $12,000 a year.
And it would be used to buy fuel and pay for the cost to send these deputies.
You're going to have to pay hotel overnight, meals per diem, fuel.
Would it be required to be used for that?
That would be discretion of the court. But our thinking would be we would be able to use that money for that, so we could track it. Right now, you don't get a cost for cost. What they're paying you is they're paying you mileage based on the number of inmates that you transport. If you look on that page 2 of that directive, it gives you a price range. The more people you transport, the more money you get per trip. And what they're paying you is they're paying you for mileage from point A to point B. It's a flat rate, depending on how we transport it. My concern is if you put this money back, if the court decided to reimburse our auto zeroes out at the end of the fiscal year. I hate to see that money go away. So my thinking would be in talking with the sheriff, we would prefer that you would do a line item account in Tyler, and we could have that money there, and it would roll over at the end of the year's roll.
Well, I think that would be a good idea. My only thing is, though, that I personally don't want to fund both things. I mean, you get to use it for over here, whatever you want to, and then I still got money in your budget that in other words, you go pay for it over here, you get reimbursed, then you're keeping the money. It's just sort of difficult for me to say yes to that, because you're taking our money, you're taking regular county money, general fund money, you're getting reimbursed for what you're doing with general fund money, and then you're able to use it again for whatever you want.
Okay, so you're going to spend the money no matter what.
No, you're right.
You're going to spend the money no matter what. What happens when you reach the end of the fiscal year? You got this $8,700. We've got another $1,600 that's coming in.
Goes back to the general fund.
It goes back to the general fund.
Go ahead.
Goes back to the general fund.
Yeah.
Or you leave it in a line item, and that way we don't lose it every year. That would be a good idea. It scares me to have to fund you, and then you get to go do whatever you want to with that money.
Well, I'm looking at. You're fine. I don't think it's going to be do whatever you want to with it. I think that money is going to go back toward those transports. It's either going to fund this, or it's going to fund a vehicle for transport. We put more miles on transport units than we put anywhere.
So if you set up a line item, you put it in there, and then you came to the court, well, that don't make sense. I just did a whole speech about having to come to it, so no, we don't want to do that.
So that's our recommendation. Our recommendation to the court would be is that this money be put into.
You're going back for how many years?
Well, right now we know we can go back through January of 2015 because we have the records. So we're pretty much guaranteed to get money back. I don't know how much dollar amount that is just yet. I asked that this morning. I was not given a figure. But if you you look at the balances, if you look at these numbers, a lot of them are 300, 400, 500, but then you'll see one for 1,400, 1,500, and one for July is 1,600. It really, it's,
And for this fiscal year, how much was it?
well, right now, you're probably talking about over $10,000, because the
For
way
just,
this is.
no, this fiscal, the one we're in.
Because right now, the 8,600 is from September of 2016 to June. So you've got 1 month in there that's in a prior fiscal year. And that month was only $300. So I would say that 8,300 of that, plus the 1,600 right now is this fiscal year, which puts you right at $10,000
And then.
We still have-
For this fiscal year.
for this fiscal year, and we still have,
I mean, I'm
August
kind
and
of like
September.
Commissioner Owens, we've already paid for that, this fiscal year. I'd like to see us get our money back out of this fiscal year. The money prior to that, I mean, it's up to the court.
I'd like to get a little bit back.
Yeah.
No, that's it.
Well, I'm trying to, we're going back to 2015 or some number back there, but this year we had 10,000 something in this fiscal year. I'd like to see that money come back and reimburse for the cost out of the general fund that we spent to send everything. Because we already paid for all that, right?
Yes, correct.
Yes.
The money's been paid.
Now, the money prior to that, I mean, I don't know how much it's gonna be.
We don't either, and we haven't submitted for it. We're still trying to get all our records up.
Well, maybe once you get all that figured out, then you can come back and we can look at how much that dollar amount will be.
Okay. So for right now?
For right now, that money goes back to where it came from. That's my personal opinion.
Back into.
Wherever the expenditure was made from, that's where the money goes back to reimburse that expenditure.
So you want to make that informal?
I'll make that in form of a motion. Why are you looking like that? Is that? I'm not sure.
I thought you guys were going the other way.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nobody. Thank you. Item 25, discuss possible action to request funds transfer from the amount of $150 from office supply account to our travel and training account. Reason for transfers to cover Judge Voss overages on hotel bill, parking, and mileage claims for August and September.
Was he on I didn't see it, was he on one of the PLO deals too?
I think so.
Was he? Oh,
I
my.
don't think he's submitted to PO.
No.
But when is he gonna be over?
Correct.
Okay.
Getting the money from.
Okay.
Need a motion for that?
So moved.
Move. Second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nobody. 5-0. Next, item 26, the Aaron monthly treasury report.
Morning, Commissioners.
If you got the up-to-date this morning.
Yeah, the one I gave you this morning is the,
Recent.
as of this morning. Does not include a $166,000 deposit that was deposited this morning by the state comptroller for taxes. We had a deposit this morning,
166.
so you can add 166 to that.
Are we gonna make it through the end of the year?
I hope so.
Matt? You gonna make it through the end of the year?
It is right now?
Yes.
No.
I'm talking about this fiscal year, 3 months. I mean, 3 weeks.
3 months.
3 months.
Yeah, we can make it. No, we can't.
Well, which one?
It's with recent events.
Which recent event?
The recent events, on how we're gonna structure INS. So we can't, but that's for me when I'm talking.
Oh, okay, all right, all right.
Okay. I need a motion to,
Motion to approve treasurer's report.
motion. Need a second. Okay, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
All right.
Aye, all those opposed, nobody. 5-0. Thank you. All right, next we have the county HR monthly report.
Is everything in order, Juanita?
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve.
The motion, I need a second.
Second.
Second, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye. All those in motion?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
I'm gonna vote against.
You gonna vote against it? Martin?
Yes. Where do we own the month?
The HR directors?
I vote yes.
Yes? 4 and 1?
Who voted one?
Commissioner Owens.
Commissioner Owens. Okay, next we have, item 28, monthly audit report.
This is the part where it's question?
Yeah, this is part, yeah. We do have the expense approval report. Is there any concerns on that?
Okay,
The best page is probably page 20.
Let me get to it. Page which?
20.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, that's just the sum page. If you approve it, that is what's going to go out.
Which report are you on?
Expense?
Expense report. Which is the $479.
Correct.
And the numbers that we got from the treasurer, that's encumbered into that or not?
No, that is not. That is a cash report.
Okay. Well, which one is it? Because she's saying no, you're saying yes. Cash? With everything outstanding?
Yeah.
Including this 400?
Yeah.
So it's not a cash.
This is the expenditure report, the bill is good.
Right. These checks have not been written yet, so they are not coming out of the cash report. These are still in AP. So once you approve, we're going to credit cash debit.
I'm just sitting back.
Trying to figure out if it's in there or ain't. So then that takes your cash balance from 1.2 down to 800. More or less.
Well, actually, no, that's if they came out of all that same account. What I believe the numbers that you just referenced, you referenced the general fund, so that would go from 1.2 to roughly 1. Because the general fund is up there at 282.
Okay.
Okay.
We still have, what, 2 more payrolls?
We do.
And those are?
Roughly 490, but we'll say 500. For the sake of easy math.
So 500, and you have a million left.
You just ate it up.
Correct, and that's the best part is,
Well, that's the best part?
yeah, that's actually the best part. The other part is, we're not going to see significant revenue until November. So October is the challenge, where there will be no there will.
So that was the good.
Yeah, that was the good is we can make it, it's just October.
And how do we intend to deal with October?
Well, what we can do is I've talked to bond counsel, and what we can do is we can go out.
Do we want to talk about that in executive session?
You know, that might be a great idea.
Okay.
We'll go with that, and then we'll figure out what we can say.
Oh, come on, I don't get to say it's easy.
Okay.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve monthly reports, auditors.
Okay, there's a motion. Second, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye, all those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Next, item 29, discuss possible action regarding TDC reimbursement.
We've already done that.
Okay.
And then 30, we've pretty much already talked about that we would have to freeze October, including payroll. If,
Are you wanting to freeze starting now?
Let's get back to after
Right.
executive session.
Okay.
Motion to table till after executive session.
Second.
There's a motion, second, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all those, 5-0. Next, item 31, discuss possible action regarding funding travel expenses for the county attorney to travel to mediation on behalf of Valverde County on September the 13th to the 14th, 2017.
Commissioners, she doesn't have the money in her travel and training, and this is one of the pieces of equipment that the sheriff had. They've asked her to be there. If y'all would allow, I've got money in my travel and training, that if we could write the PO out of that and let her use my travel and training money. And if it would be capable, if it would be possible to go ahead and write the checks as soon as possible to get her gone.
Okay, we can do that.
Motion to approve.
There's a motion, I need a second.
Second.
Second, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye, all those opposed, nobody, 5-0. And now, we will now go into executive session pursuant to the Texas Government Code 551.071, parentheses 1, parentheses A, and 551.071, parentheses 2, and 551.071, parentheses 1, parentheses 2. Session. Before we go back to the budget and the proposed budget workshop, let's go to the addendum. Item 1, discuss possible action to give permission to the Brown Plaza Committee for the use of a generator and lights.
I'll make that motion, Judge.
There's a motion, I need a second. Second. Any questions, discussion?
That was actually one of those deals that I bought without permission.
The
So throw that out there.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? There's one abstention, he's not here. All right, next item 2, discuss possible action to amend the budget and move money from paving to operating budget. Commissioner Flores?
Yes, Judge, I'd like to move $8,500 from paving to operating.
Okay. There's a motion. Can you put that in form of motion?
Yes, that'll be a motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Second. Any questions? If not, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody. And the third item is discuss possible action to request a payout vacation leave for 3 district attorney's office employees. Commissioner
Judge, Commissioners, what I'm asking for with this item is, I'm kind of predicting the future here, hoping that everything's going to go well, and we are going back to the county. I think that's the road and the path that we're all on here, which we're all looking forward to. But one of the things that was done in the past is that there were some employees when I took over that I did keep, and they stayed over, and there were some, of course, that did not stay. Those that didn't stay, when they left, we made sure that they received their vacation pay. So what I'm asking is, since we are going down that road and we are complaining that we're going back to the county, I think it's only fair and just that my 3 respective employees that stayed with my office and they've been retained, which would be Mr. Roland Andrade, Cindy Constancio, and then Larry Pope, that they be paid their vacation pay. And specifically what I'm asking for is that it be paid from the funds that I have yet to receive from the county from the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th quarter, because quite honest, I don't have enough funds in my payroll right now to pay them. The funds specifically would be, for Mr. Andrade, would be $20,809.50. For Cindy Constancio, it's $4,710.20. For Larry Pope, it's it's 6,000, I believe that's 454.24. I need to verify that. And the reason Roland's is so high is because for the last 3.5, perhaps 4 years since he's been there, he really didn't take vacation hardly at all. I can attest to you as an officer of the court that when I would go to court in district court throughout our 3 counties, he was the one that was in court the majority of the time. He was the one that was taking care of the contested hearings as well as the jury trials. There were often times when he had to come back, and I remember very distinctly that he was on vacation one time in California with his kids, and my predecessor instructed him to come back and try a case because he wasn't competent to the other guy trying the case. So that's why he has so many hours accumulated. And we were able to verify that through the worksheet that they provided to my office manager. So this is why I'm asking these things, and again, I'm asking that you make an exception in this regard, and that you allow them to be paid this, again, but I need some money moved over from either the second quarter, third, or fourth quarter that I have not yet received. Again, I do not have enough money in my funds right now in my payroll account to do this. I think this is only fair and proper for them to receive this money.
What was the policy over there on vacation? Because I know over here, we have a policy, you can only accrue so much and then you lose it. What was the policy over there?
You know, Commissioner, that's a very good question. I can't answer that because I don't know what his policy was before I got there.
I guess, have they lost the days?
That's a good question.
Have they lost them? They haven't lost the days, though.
I don't think they have lost it. They haven't been able to take them. So I'm asking for you to respectfully consider this request.
I personally can't do that. I mean, they haven't lost their days. They can still take their days. Now, if they were losing them for some reason and we needed to pay them, that would be different. But you're paying days. I mean, if we do that, then I've got people that they're at their max and we're going to start writing checks.
Yeah.
I can't. Opinion.
Well, my only concern or difference with that is that we have the monies available because we haven't received any of those monies from the second, third, and fourth quarter. And y'all would still be able to receive a benefit from this because you're still going to have a savings from those other monies.
Again.
And I don't see how they can take their days because, you know, if Roland is at that amount and we're talking over 430 hours, how are they going to be able to take 430 hours off?
What is our carryover? What's our carryover for?
It depends on years. It goes like 1 from 5 and then 5 to something or something.
Around
216 is the max.
216 hours. Right now, if I may, General, what we have for Mr. Andrade, his is at a rate of $48.08 per hour at 432 hours, 432.81 hours. For Cindy, it's 199.50 hours at 23.61 per hour. For Mr. Pope, his is 278.56 hours at 23.17. So, what was the rate again, the highest rate, I'm sorry?
216.
If y'all would do the 216 for Roland.
No, it'd be the 216 minus the 4 something.
216 minus the what?
Well, you said you had 400 some odd hours.
But y'all can go up to a maximum of 216.
That's what I'm saying, so you should.
So it'd only be 216.
Minus. In other
The
words,
max he can carry over is 216.
Okay.
So you subtract 216 from 4 something.
Well, it's still the same thing. You're only going to be able to pay him 216 hours, is what you're saying.
I don't know. I don't know what the
Is that
400
correct?
some odd hours.
does he have?
432.81.
minus 216.
So the max he can get paid is 216.
Okay, still 216.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And then for Larry, it's also the max he could be paid is 216 because he has 278. He can't exceed that, is what you're telling me, right? Let's make it easy. And then for Cindy, she should be able to get paid everything because she's at 199.50.
Again, state my case. We have a policy within our deal that's 216. If that is the number, you know, you just can't. If they don't have more than that, then you can't pay it, and you're burdening the court because the actions of the other elected official. I mean, I just don't understand.
My office is burdened a lot because of the actions of my predecessor, sir.
I understand.
But I would respectfully submit to you that if Roland has 432 hours, my auditor and my treasurer is telling me that we can only pay up to 216 hours. Is that correct, gentlemen?
No, you pay above, whatever's above the 216.
Okay, so you can carry over 216.
When it comes to him, if you said he had 432 hours, then it actually works out at 216, just because.
So what would that leave it as? Aaron, did you have those figures? I saw you doing it.
Sorry, I didn't get the rate.
Okay, let's do it again real quick, please, if you don't mind. Again, for Mr. Andrade, he has a total of 432.81 hours. Do you need to know his pay rate? Pay rate is $48.08 per hour.
That's based at the...
This page says his current pay, sir. So it's 432.81 minus 216, is that correct? So 216 hours for 217 would carry over, would that be correct?
No, 216.
216 would be carried over. So 216 would be carried over. And the other amount, basically that's not going to be paid, he's just going to lose those amounts? Is that what we're saying?
What if, what if you brought the leave over,
Mhm.
but you brought them over to maximum?
Right.
Then you paid out the overages out of the payroll.
I don't think I have that in my payroll
It's
account.
gonna be really tight.
It's gonna be tight.
You are right, but it's gonna be tight.
How much is
What-
Oh, thanks.
Larry,
He still needs to get approval to pay it out.
And that's why I'm here, Commissioner. I like to get permission.
how much is it?
I'm more inclined to bring it over and then extend the time they have to take it off.
That's not right.
But right now, for Larry, what was your question?
What did you pay?
His rate would be 23.17 per hour, and he has 278. He's 52 hours over? Thank you, sir.
And then the other lady's not even at her max.
She's not at her max, no, sir. She's at 199.50. I would ask that you consider allowing me to have them carry over their max, or whatever they're in excess of, and then the difference, if we could try to pay that, I don't know if we can pay it from the payroll, that's gonna make it very tight, and if not, I'd like to see if I can get some type of transfer from one of the second or third or fourth quarters to take care of that amount.
Now I'm more inclined to bring it over and allow them up to a year to take it off.
And you're talking, your proposal would be for the full amount that they have right now?
Whatever they have, bring their vacation over and then extend the time that they have to take it off.
Can you take 216 in 1 year?
It's gonna be difficult.
In 6 weeks. 6 weeks, at 37.5 hours.
Allow them 3 years to take it off?
Well, we don't work 37 hours, we work 40 at our office.
Well, it's
Well,
gonna
I
change.
just, I mean, then it would be, then it would be less weeks.
2 years, is that what you're thinking?
Well, if you take 2 weeks a year, that takes how long to get it off? 3 years, 2 years?
And you're accruing still.
Here's a,
At this maximum, you don't accrue anymore. I start losing.
this is almost back in an accurate math. Okay, we're at 50. We're at 50 right now. Our payrolls are roughly 20,000.
Yes.
Más o menos. Okay.
Más o menos.
Más o menos. Doing well, man, doing well.
Okay. Now, that 7,000 is for your Blue Cross Blue Shield, which you're not going to have to make in October because you're.
That's correct.
Okay.
God willing.
So we're going to take a balance of 50 minus the 2 payrolls, back in the 7. We're not going to have to make, so that will leave us about 17 target balance in this account.
Okay, don't forget, we still have to pay for the doors.
Okay, so we got the doors in there at about 2,000?
Más o menos.
All right.
Así es.
So we're at 15.
You want a different color pen?
Okay, so we got 15 is our target there. And to balance them out to, what was that figure now?
11,580 with 99 cents.
11,000? Okay, 11K. So,
Okay.
oh yeah, you would still have, okay.
Yeah, for everything. Transferring everything?
Pardon?
We wouldn't need to transfer
No,
everything.
no. If you took them down to their max, and if everybody's max is 216, which
I don't know if it is.
okay, should be, except with the exception of.
That's not a great plan. They don't cost us anything.
No.
I like that.
So that way, I'm actually out of the payroll funds, we'd actually be paying them the difference between the accumulated hours, is that correct?
Mhm.
I'm comfortable with that, and then the rest of the amount can be carried over. Is that what we're saying?
Correct. That's
With some time to use
with the
it?
exception of Cindy, because we don't know her years in service, no balance, although she is retired from juvenile.
Right.
So
So what would we do with hers then? That would be allowed to carry over?
how many days is it?
I don't know how many days.
It's 199 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't know what the days are. It depends on her service time.
Yeah. She's been there with the DA's office, I'm gonna say, for approximately 3 years, more or less, plus or minus. But I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure when she actually started there. I know that she was employed at the
Are we having another
probation
meeting?
department beforehand.
Yeah,
Monday? To approve the budget?
yeah, we need to have another meeting Monday. Approve the budget. So we'll bring up those figures.
Can you get all those worked out between now and Monday, and then we know exactly what the numbers look like?
Okay, we can sign
We
it
can do
out.
that.
And it would just be how the court decides to handle,
Right, once we have all the figures.
how much hours they want to give her credit for. She's a
Right.
retired juvenile employee, and she's
Right.
been there about 3 years.
Yeah, and I can verify that into the appointment.
All right?
May I ask you to carry that over?
Yeah.
Table it, please.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
Nothing
you.
to table until the next one.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back to item number 6.
And we have a
Budget
motion.
workshop.
We need to vote on this. We need to,
So there's a motion and second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody? All right, let's go back to the budget workshop. Bo, any-
I'll make a motion to authorize Matt to do a, what is the word I'm looking for?
right,
We are a grant revenue anticipation note.
A grant revenue anticipation note in the amount, what did we say, 1.1?
1.1.
1.1.
And there's a motion, I need a second.
We need to include in there 1.1 plus interest, or just 1.1, and interest is just,
Yeah, and in fact, interest isn't even calculated in the budget, so it would be nice. And since we're making a motion, let's make it 1.2. However, we can go lower.
Okay.
But let's max out at 1.2.
At
Does that sound good?
1.2.
Okay.
A grant anticipation loan at 1.2, up to 1.2, and authorize the judge to sign any necessary documents.
Okay,
Okay.
there's a motion, I need a second.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? Not all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody? 5-0.
Judge, I got a comment since we went back to the budget.
Okay.
This court, given our mercy management, there was a $6,000 raise, and just so for the general public to understand, we were in school 3 weeks ago, and our county mitigation plan status as of May 2017 was expired, and we just gave this individual a $6,000 raise. I mean, this thing's expired, and my understanding of going to that class, if we went, if there was a catastrophe, or if there was something here, we would not be, according to the people there at the seminar, we would not be eligible for FEMA money. But yet, we gave this individual a $6,000 grant, or a $6,000 raise, and we didn't get this stuff, just for clarification.
Thank you. All right, let's go back to item 35.
Real quick comment on the budget. If that is going to happen with the DA and we're going to bring him in, they presently do have a grant, the Border Prosecution Grant. And if we treat it like all of our other grants, we're going to run it through his departmental. But his departmental is not as big as our other offices, so there could be issues there in the future.
But
We'll run it through his
we're not
department.
done with their audit to where he might end up with a couple $100,000 out of that $600 and some odd thousand dollars. There's $615,000, $619,000 in one of the deals that we're auditing right now.
Correct.
He could probably end up, the way it looks, with a couple $100,000 out of that.
Okay.
So when we get to that point, we bring it back next go-around. Hopefully, we're close to our audit if he needs to use some of those monies in and out.
Yeah, but excuse me for interrupting, but I think what Matt's getting at is, in reference to my department, we're going to have to make sure that we come back in on, especially for our grant funded positions, because we have one grant funded position that was already there and it was carried over. But as our new grant has been already awarded to us through the Border Prosecution Unit, which has already started, we're going to have another position which we're currently advertising through the Human Resource and other things. We need to make sure that that gets on there as well. Is that where we're going now?
Well, it says your total budget,
Right.
even though you're giving us reimbursements, we understand that. Your total budget is $506,000. Your BPU grant is $172,000.
Right.
So there is going to be a point in time, because of his department and the size of it, in month 10, 11, 12, when in order for him to expend his funds out of his department general fund funds, there's going to be a squeeze.
Okay.
So we
Can
need
you
to
bring
figure
us a
out-
plan, like what you just did a little while ago, and sort of bring us something back for the next meeting?
Absolutely.
For all grants.
That would be nice, but we can't swing it yet, but we would like to get to that point.
I'm talking about a plan. We're not talking about we're gonna do it, a plan on how we're gonna handle it.
Absolutely.
And also in reference to the other position that we're currently advertising for, we'll probably be making a decision on that by the end of this month. And I'll bring that back to the Commissioner's Court so we can make sure that that is approved as well when we set the salary.
All right, let's go to item 35, approve no subdivision plans, no certificates of compliance. Approve, I need a motion to approve monthly report from elected officials.
Move.
So move. Need a second? Need a second?
I got a second.
Second.
Second. Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Approved bills for payment.
Make a motion to approve, and I think we have a couple to add.
Yeah, we have a couple to add. We have Heinz Well Service, 2 of those, and then we have another payment from
And,
Bickerstaff.
the Heinz Well Service, so y'all know what it is, it's the water well that we put in with the pump at the county pocket, so we would have water up there for fires and roads.
Okay.
Motion to approve. And add, Heinz and what else?
Bickerstaff.
Okay, sure.
There's a motion, and a second.
Second.
Second, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nobody. Item 39, county judge's comments. The only comment I'm gonna have is that if anybody wants to help the relief of whether it's a hurricane in Florida or Hurricane Harvey in Houston, actually coastal area, please donate to the Red Cross, no less than $10. They appreciate that contribution. Other than that, another comment? Nothing else, then this meeting's adjourned.